We basically watched Alexis Bellino's career crumble right in front of our eyes last night. That's what those tears were about. She has the balls to call this her career. She has attempted to make reality TV her career, though. She did Marriage Boot Camp. She did something else. She also did Below Deck. So she's been trying. And now she's trying again with Housewives. Like, she really thought she could come on Housewives and it would eventually be cool with Shannon, while John and it's not just that John is suing Shannon and Alexis is like, I'm staying out of it. I don't know. That's between you guys, whatever. She's doing all the we have proof. We have evidence. She's doing that. So you thought it was gonna what? Be cool with Shannon? What the fuck are you thinking? Crazy? Anyway. So today I'm going to get into Orange County, Salt Lake City, and I do want to lightly touch on the premiere of RHONY. So if you're new to the show, hello, I'm Emily. I recap your favorite reality TV shows and catch us up on juicy entertainment news. Every Sunday, I go live on YouTube at 10 a.m. PT to wrap up the week and chat with my fellow messes. So subscribe, follow, like, comment, and now let's get into it. So let's start with RHONY. We get a fourth wall break right in the beginning, which we love. Now, is there normally an entire film crew present at the opening credits photo shoots for the Housewives? I don't know. But maybe this was just a brilliant move on behalf of producers who knew that all that drama had just happened between Ubah and Brynn and that they should have cameras there because it's going to be part of the show. Who knows? But we open on some gay producer in a panic saying, we are on a tight schedule, so I'm just trying to stay on top of it. And Ubah, he's talking to Ubah. I was like, oh, be careful. She's like, not today, not after the week I've had. And so we get these clips of Ubah and Brynn, and it is a war, and the whole group is like, you got to pick a side, and all the, it's whatever the hell it was, it's going to be big. So waiting to see that. Okay, so then we get a little catch up with everybody. I love how much this group has evolved in the off months. Like, they've continued to be friends and hang out and have issues and stuff. So they're coming with a lot of material already. Jessel and her new teeth go with Pavitt. Listen, I am Jessel in this moment. I don't do Subway. I don't do Carol's Buns. I'm a bougie bitch, even though I have no reason to be. But I'm like, ooh, we don't need to show how much cheaper it is to ride a Subway versus Uber because it's just not going to happen. Jessel's not going to start taking the Subway. I know that people take the Subway all the time. I get it. But when I went to New York to try to move there, which was short-lived for many reasons, I got there with summer and I got there on the Subway and I was drenched in sweat. It was humid. Then I get off the fucking Subway and there's trash piled up on the streets because apparently that's what they do for trash day. I was like, oh my God, kill me. Absolutely not. No, thank you. So that's my experience with the Subway. But anyway, moving on. Jessel and Pavitt chat. She's like, my birthday's coming up. You've got to plan something. And he's like, oh, Carol's Buns is cool. But she's like, you got to put a little more effort in. You didn't even get me a card for Valentine's Day. And I don't like how he's just like, whatever. Like, listen, dude, you got to put some effort in. Like, treat her right. You know, he's acting so clueless, like she's not worthy of anything. But it's, you know, come on, dude. Get it. I know he had a good season last year and we all like rallied around him because Sai was so mean, but I'm going to give you shit. You better be good to Jessel. All righty. She's now raking in some money too. Okay. Aaron and Ubah are besties. What? Last year I was like, oh, Aaron, you're never going to be forgiven, but they're besties now. And I love that. And you know who else is besties? Because they did interviews together. Ubah and Sai. And I don't think we get any like update on their relationship in this episode, but they're cool. Like, they're good. They talk all the time. So I love it. I love shifting dynamics. But okay, Brynn is mad at Aaron for what happened on Jeff Lewis. And Jeff Lewis kind of gets Aaron in trouble because from the clip that we saw, no, I did not go back and look at the whole episode, so maybe there's more stuff that they just didn't show. But it really does appear as if Jeff Lewis is the one who wants to say that Brynn has someone helping with her bills, but Aaron says no. So Aaron does her best. Maybe she should have shut it down more. But you know how awkward that is to do when you're on someone's show, to be like, don't say that. Like, that's kind of uncomfortable to like do that, you know? So I don't think Aaron really did anything wrong, but Brynn was getting that rumor was going around. Everyone was using that assumption, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's just no one really understood where she got all of her money. But then we did see that she had done advertising for like big companies, like big oil, and I'm sure they pay. Like I think she did advertising from what I remember reading last year when everyone was posting stuff. I could have swore she worked on like Exxon Mobil, but that I might be wrong. I just remember Big Oil was one of her clients. And I'm like, wait a minute, like they hired her to do a campaign after like what, an oil spill or something, and then so if she was taking that kind of money pays well. If you need to be representing people like that who are so wrong, most likely they are going to give you a lot of money to try to make them look good. So I think that was what everyone was like, where does she get all of her money? What does she do, etc.? Because she didn't show any of her work stuff. So she was maybe a little exhausted from it. She even went after an account. She went after Bravo and Botox. But Bravo and Botox handled it perfectly because she grew so many followers just from Brynn posting and calling her out. And then she posted like a carousel. Emily, by the way, is Bravo and Botox's name. You didn't know that. And Emily posted a carousel of memes in response. And one of them was the one of Nene going, "A hit dog will holler." And I'm like, oh, it's kind of true though. Because now the way Brynn is so mad about this accusation, it's like no one, like, if it's not true, it's not true, right? Like, if it's not true, and if people are saying this about you and discrediting you, I get that it's frustrating, but like, go watch that clip, at least from what we saw, and it does seem like Aaron is like, no, I don't think so, and Jeff Lewis takes it from there. So, you know, Brynn, I think, got real high and mighty after last year. She knew she would be a fan favorite. And I actually personally got kind of annoyed with Brynn last year. Like at the reunion, I was like, what is she doing? So I'm not like a huge Brynn stan by any means. And it just seems to me like Brynn is, why are you so defensive over this? Like they all say, like, if people were accusing me of having a sugar daddy, I'd be like, fuck yes, where? Show him to me. Which is what makes me feel like, is there truth to this? Because you're so mad. If it's not true, then who cares? And even if it is true, fuck, I'm jealous. Genuinely. Okay, but Brynn's been up to a lot. Brynn also then tells Jenna, most likely in retaliation for the Jeff Lewis thing, that Aaron called her poor. Now, I didn't even need to hear the story, honestly, in order to know that I doubt Aaron meant that. Like, Aaron, I can't even picture her calling Jenna Lyons poor and meaning it. You're like, oh, she's poor. And also being like using it as a diss, like using the adjective, oh, what a poor she's poor. She's a poor. Ew. No. I just knew it was some sort of a joke. So Brynn has just been up to trouble. Speaking of trouble, Sai and Jessel, they're good, which is also crazy. And we get to find out that, wow, Sai actually saw some things she wanted to work on. Because I didn't think fan feedback would even matter to Sai. It didn't seem like it would. That's sort of why I was like, get her, I don't need her back. Because she was just cruel. I love edge. I love straightforward, whatever. But like, it was just cruel. coming out of her. And it seemed like anytime you told her, like, that was just unnecessarily mean, she'd be like, well, deal with it. And so if you're not going to be up for growth or anything, bye-bye, don't need you. However, she actually said, I saw things I did not like. And I'm sure she got the comments and all this stuff too. Because I saw someone commented on, it might have been one of my posts or something, maybe I read on someone else's. The comment said, it's so obvious that this is all about the audience feedback and that's the only reason she's doing it or something. And which it's kind of endearing that way. And I'm like, I guess it is because of the audience feedback, but I'm like, I didn't even think Sai would give a shit about the audience feedback. And so if she does care enough about the audience feedback to then go to therapy and get tools to better herself, that's awesome. Because she looks like she's trying. And so now that we're adding this self-awareness and an attempt at growth, I'm on board. I am on board for a bitch like Sai. Because if I can see that she's like, hold on, I know this is too far, I love it. But before it was just, there was no reprieve. I was just like, what a bitch, man. And not in the fun way. Not like bitch, but like, like literal. You know what I mean? But Brynn, up to no good, told Jenna that Sai said she hated her. And I'm kind of with Sai on this one. Like, why would you even want to say that? But we'll get to the once we get to that final party. Apparently, Jenna didn't just hear that from Brynn because Jenna says that she heard it from multiple people. But we'll get to that in a second. Aaron and Abe, whoa! So they get ice cream somewhere where they also can get cocktails. Like she gets some spiked hot chocolate ice cream, or I don't know. Sounded delicious just getting ice cream, and then I don't know. That sounded fun. I want to go there. Aaron's mom has breast cancer though. Her kids don't know. So that's going to be her world is rocked. We saw how close she was to her family. So that's going to be definitely a big part of it. But the family just moved uptown, but they're not sold on the place that they moved to. Abe says, we need tri-level. And Aaron goes, well, I found that townhouse. Abe is all about it. But Aaron is like, I mean, do you really want to move again? I don't want to move again. But it's a renovation that they'd have to do. So they wouldn't even be able to move until it was ready. And because renovations take months. So, while that is happening, she could maybe do that. I don't know. Why am I acting like they could just have both? Like you could just have this home and then have that home. And I don't know. But she talks about how part of the reno, they've got to cover up this like cherub mural thing on the wall or the ceiling. And Abe jokes that they could maybe like go there and do some shrooms and trip out. And she freaks out. And it's really weird because she's like, it's one thing saying it to your friends. It's another thing to say it on camera. Yet they flash back to her saying it on camera to Jenna last season about their home and where was it? Connecticut? Where were they? I can't remember. But that's like, she said, I always say this is a good house to trip in. And then now she's like, but we find out it is more than this comment. Abe says, look, yes, she's anything I say right now. It's more than that. But then when they go back to Aaron's confessional, she is just shaking her head very slowly and just goes, not going there. And I'm like, okay, all right. Listen, you better get there. But it looks like we're going to get there. It looks like we're going to get it eventually. So it's more like just like a tease, but still, I'm like, oh, how long are we going to have to wait? Okay, we've got new people. We've got Rebecca Minkoff. I get nothing from her yet, literally zero. But Raquel, she's fun. Raquel and Mel, her wife, and did you see the ring, her engagement ring? Or they married, right? Right? Wedding ring? Whatever. The ring isn't your traditional ring. It's this dope, like artsy, fucking huge ring. It's awesome. They have 3 motorcycles. That's right. 3 fucking motorcycles. And Raquel can't even ride anymore. She's not allowed to be the driver because she dropped the bike trying to take a turn too tight or something. But when she described, she's like, I always wanted to be like a stunt double. So in my head, I see myself like like jumping off the bike and like grabbing up above me and just like hanging from there. Like she's like, that's who I picture myself as. And I'm like, yeah, that's who I picture you as. When she did that, I was like, I feel like she could do this actually. I feel like she should go take like stuntman classes or whatever. So I'm sure they're not called stuntman classes. Stunt classes. Oh, excuse me. Because when she was doing that, I was like, no, I believe you can. Why don't you try it? Can we see? Get on a motorcycle. I think you can do it. But she's cool. I like her a lot. Rebecca Minkoff is very intentionally giving us next to nothing. I can tell she's even in her interviews that she's been doing, it's like, oh, she's just so careful and soft spoken and whatever. And I gotta say, like, I hate to not shout out, but I hate to talk shit about casting. But when Rebecca Minkoff was announced, a lot of people were, I didn't know this, but a lot of people were like, she's a fucking Scientologist. Why are you gonna have a Scientologist on the show? I was like, well, what if she talks about it? Like, that could be kind of cool if we have someone who's a Scientologist but is willing to like open up about it. But no, she's not going to want to talk about it. So I'm like, well, what the hell's the point? This is just to give her free marketing. Because I mean, I'm sure everyone knew about Rebecca Minkoff, but now like more people will know, you know? I should stop saying, I'm going to try. It's like saying like, I say, all the fucking time and I got to stop. But I'm going to try. I'm going to at least cut it down. Cut it down to just a few an episode. Ugh to Aaron sending Jessel and I'm so disappointed text because Jenna, Jessel, and Brynn go to this furniture place because Bryn's looking for more stuff for her new apartment because she's moved. It looks fab. And it's pretty clear from the conversation that Jessel does say that it seemed like Aaron was kidding when she's talking about Jenna being poor or whatever. It was something to do with Jenna's car breaking down and then Aaron had to call an Uber. Erin does kind of tell on herself a little bit because she's like, it was a joke. It was so obviously a joke. But then she's like, okay, but it was annoying. Like it was $250 Uber. Like she didn't pay me back. It was annoying. I'm like, okay, so you might have been attempting to be funny, but it probably was obvious you were actually pissed off. And but if even Jessel is saying like, no, I think she was kidding. Jessel was a little contradictory, I think. It was tough to get a read on what Jessel's energy was because Jessel might have said in that scene, no, it was just, I think she was kidding. But she still had a tone of like, Aaron said it. Now Aaron's not being honest. So, but clearly Brynn led the charge, clearly. But what Jenna did was call Aaron right away. And it makes sense. Jenna's like, we had already squashed this. And so when they brought it up, I wanted to call her and say, look, I didn't bring it up. I've let it go, but it was brought up. And so this may come back around, which was smart because she's like, I see what's happening here. They're going to make sure that this gets on camera. And then she's going to think I did it, but I'm fine with it. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. First, now they're at the party. They're at the, what's her face? Brenda's throwing this party for her brother. So I'm doing a very light recap because I don't want to go like scene for scene. I figured you guys watched the show. But when Sai gets there, she asks Jenna who told her that she hated her. But I thought she already knew this. Like she just was this might have been filmed out of order or something. Because I'm like, we just had her telling Jessel that she knows Brynn told her that. But then she's asking Jenna to her face and that whatever. I don't know. That was confusing to me. But Sai does what she should do. She apologizes to Jenna, but then Jenna's like, it's not just her. I heard from a lot of people that you were talking shit about me. And Sai has to own it. Like, I judged a book before getting to know what was inside. And I could tell Jenna's like really upset, actually, because Jenna's like, I mean, this is such a cute cover, meaning like you're judging a book by its cover. Like, but it's such a cute cover. Why could you judge it? But I don't know. I'm sure they'll get over it. But anyway, Jessel and Aaron talk off to the side and ugh to Jenna not wanting to be in the mix because I was hoping she'd come into this season if she were to sign on for season 2, because that was up in the air. I was hoping that she'd be a little bit more down to get dirty, but she still thinks she can just go to events. Like her little confessional bite is, Do I have to? I just want to sit here in my cute vagina dress and just chill. I'm like, but you're fucking filming a show, okay? Show up, okay? I get it. I get that you want to be careful, but like, it's going to start to bug me if you don't get in the mix a little bit. But Erin always takes it to a very dramatic place. And so this is where Erin could afford to have a little bit of a sense of humor about just the messiness of how to do a reality show. And it's so clear that Brynn is just being fucking messy. But Erin's going to a place as, I have integrity. I'm a mother of 3. I don't lie. It's like, okay, Brynn is just being messy. We don't need to be that serious about it. But then Brynn comes over and Erin scoffs and tries to walk away, but then she lets Brynn convince her to sit back down. I'm like, oh, that was weak. Just walk away and stay away. Don't like get up to leave and then sit back down. It kind of whatever. But Brynn knows that she should have not said anything to Jenna the way she did, and feels like kind of busted, I guess, because it's being brought up again and she knows she's bringing it up again and she knows it's been squashed. But so she has to be like, well, what about the Jeff Lewis thing? I can tell Brynn doesn't even buy this. I could tell Brynn is like, it's over, like she's apologized. Because when Erin's like, I apologized to you, and Brynn goes, yeah, why would you apologize to me if you didn't think you did anything wrong? No. You know why she apologized but have you watched the clip? Have you watched the fucking clip? Oh, is this like she's not really saying that? But then Sai joins the convo. And as Brynn is like, he was saying I have sex for money. And Sai's like, no, he wasn't. And then this kicks off. Now, Sai keeps bringing up this night at Jenna's that was awkward. And I think this kind of goes back to like something with the timing of this might be off, because I can't tell what exactly this was. If this is 2 different things. They're referencing things that happened off camera. So I'm like, I can't tell which event this is or when it happened. But Sai keeps saying it was this awkward night, and Brynn's like, yeah, because of what you called Pavitt. Apparently, Sai, who I found out from maybe an interview that Sai did. No, Sai went on, she went on her Instagram stories and talked about this. She said that text message about Pavitt being Finding Dory was actually sent in the group chat. So it wasn't like she had sent it just to Brynn about Jessel. Nope, she sent that in the group chat, which does kind of change a little bit. It does a bit. But this makes Sai lose it, and then she starts yelling, "You're a gaslighting, narcissistic asshole," and goes on and on. I'm like, okay, damn it. Now you've gone a little too far, because she's not going to hear anything now. Now she gets to sort of play like victim. And so Brynn leaves in tears, and she's talking to her brother. She's like, Sai's like, you're causing havoc in this group. I laugh and giggle all day. How am I causing havoc? Girl, don't act dumb. I'll own your villainry. And I think she will. The thing about Brynn is that she might kind of get on my nerves, because it's always like a little performance. Like she's always like, oh my God, a little sex kitten. Oh, everything's like that, you know? It's sometimes it gets on my nerves, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's TV. Like she's basically like a cartoon. So yeah. Anyway, Sai, though, acknowledging that she shouldn't have yelled, I did not see that coming. When she does her confessional soundbite, and it's like, look, as soon as you yell, even if the message is right, you lose your power, or you lose. It's not the way. It was not respectful. I'm like, what? Okay, I'm in. I'm in for this. I'm in. Have a moment. Apologize. Don't make it a habit, though, because then you become the Ramona apologizer. But anyhow, I'm actually quite excited for the season. But I remember Sai on Jeff Lewis. Remember the moment that she didn't know they were still recording in between, like when they go on commercial break. She didn't know that they stayed recording, and was talking all this shit about Rebecca Minkoff. And when asked about how the season was, Sai said it was kind of boring. But from the trailer, it looks like it's not so boring. But it's possible. It's possible. They also have the trailer was the pigeons. Never mind. The trailer actually, some of it looked good, but the pigeons thing started to irritate me. I'm like, why are we leaning so much into the pigeons? The pigeons feel like you're just trying to like make a moment, make a meme, make a thing, you know? But the dynamics of the group and there being like actual real interpersonal relationships, and I think I'm going to enjoy this season. I enjoyed last season, but I did get bored. And because I felt like they had too many episodes. Like they should have given them a shorter season so that they didn't have to, they milked the last 3 episodes a lot. And it was just like not really dense and got a little boring. But anywho, we shall see. I'm excited to tune in. But okay, let's take a little break. And when we get back, let's go to Salt Lake City. We just got through a wicked heat wave here in LA, and I had to have the window closed in the room that I keep my cat's litter box. And I was really worried it was going to start to smell disgusting, but it didn't because I use Pretty Litter. And those odor-absorbing crystals did their job. I don't know why it took me so long to get on the Pretty Litter bandwagon. I am never going back to my old litter. I used clumping litter that was so dusty and heavy. Pretty Litter, it's a lightweight 6-pound bag, and it's crystals. And the crystals absorb the liquid as well as the odor. But these crystals also change colors to indicate signs of potential illness in your cat, like a urinary tract infection, kidney issues. I have personally seen the litter change and called my vet and made an appointment for my girls. So thank you, Pretty Litter. And Pretty Litter just ships free right to my door. So I never run out. Pretty Litter is amazing. You have to try it. Go to prettylitter.com/shespeaks to save 20% on your first order, and you get a free cat toy. That's prettylitter.com/shespeaks to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/shespeaks. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Okay, loving that Angie K has a brow girl with the T. She's been getting DMs from that Osmond character. By the way, now I can't tell. Bravo and Cocktails posted this. I can't tell if this DM was to her or to someone else, and this was sent to her. But this is what Jared Osmond said in this DM. For the record, Brittany has a job on the show because I decided to go on. I give her relevance. I give her a talking point. She promised me that we wouldn't take our love on camera, that it would be best friends, hence the reason for all the best friend comments. I went against my better judgment, and I filmed with her thinking that she would hold to that. She did not, obviously. I've stepped up to give her all that she has needed to make herself relevant on the show, and what I got in return was a woman that dumped me and makes me look like a complete idiot by the time this is all done. Also evidenced by some of her TikToks. Not a happy camper. What? What the fuck? I've always been steady. Well, then what are these DMs with the brow lady? What are you talking about, dude? Is that not you? You know, and I realize I'm oversharing a little bit. The fascinating part of Brittany's story is that she adds so much drama for no reason, truly in an attempt to be relevant. If you want to know the truth on our history, I have never walked away from her. I've never broken up with her. I've always been steady, spoiled her over the last year, paid for everything, and have been a true gentleman. She is so damaged from her past relationships that she makes me out to be the bad guy. Okay. She's scared that I won't put a ring on her finger and I just want to play. So rather than just steadily stay with me and work through all of the dating issues that pop up, she runs like a scared child. I need to date a stable woman. This guy, you're giving the Osmonds a bad name. Honestly. Alrighty? Okay, they're going to Milwaukee. And Mary doesn't travel with the group. You know what? Look, they're like, okay, as long as you show up. And she's like, I'm not getting on a Sprinter van. Mary tells us the story about her dad, who, whenever he went to work, he would smell a horrible smell. And it turned out it was coming from Jeffrey Dahmer's home. He saw the whole thing go down. I think he was just being nosy, but he saw it. He was just being nosy. You could tell she loves her dad. Like, she thinks of him very fondly. Okay, so now they're all there. They gather at a table and like are just kind of chatting a little bit. But Lisa cries when she brings up Jack having health problems. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm crying. And it's so fucking weird to hear Mary go, "It's okay, Lisa." Like, in that tone. Oh, who is that? Was that Mary? I rewound it like 3 times. Just the tone. "It's okay, Lisa. That's normal." Huh? What's happening? I love it. Like, I love that Mary is clocked in. This is incredible. But it's so foreign, especially when she's being nice to Lisa or any of the other people that she hasn't been nice to. But Jack could not stand up even from the stomach pain. That sounds like an appendix situation. My sister had her appendix. It didn't burst, but something happened. She was so sick and in so much pain, and they had to remove it. So that sounds like that's what it is. But he's like, "Don't come out here. Don't come check on me or anything like that." So she's got to just suck it up. And that would be very hard in a foreign country. Thank God she knows he's surrounded by other people. He's not like alone, but still. Whitney taking Mary to the Bobblehead Museum is brilliant. Brilliant. The way, and then when Whitney does it like a little bobblehead thing. But Mary's, again, so nice. She's like, she's not a bobblehead anymore. She passed that torch to someone else. If anyone should be called a bobblehead, it's Meredith. Because Meredith has her head choreography. She does her head choreography very much. Like, she always has her head going. And I feel like if anyone's a bobblehead, it's her. So I wonder if that's who she's talking about. Okay, Angie talks to Bronwyn about the ropes course day. And she's like, "I can tell something's off. I could tell things shifted at that moment. Like, how are you doing?" And Bronwyn says that Lisa was actually the one who had not such nice things to say about Maylee. Then they flash back to the Wendy's drive, which I like how that's how they're referring to it. On the Wendy's drive, because what else would you call that? And I did get Wendy's a couple days ago because this damn show made me think of Wendy's so much. So good marketing. Good marketing. All right. But this is what Lisa says in the car. She goes, "This is so bitchy, but my friend is like, Maylee's about to get blacklisted from Nordstrom from all her returns." Oh, yucky. That's not great. She's like, "I know." It was very bitchy. Very, very bitchy. So I'm like, oh, that's what she said? Interesting. But I don't get Bronwyn being upset that Lisa didn't shut it down when I think she did her best to shut it down. I think she, in her way, was like, "No, she just has a different way of talking. Like, that's just how she did her best, I guess." And then, I don't know. I mean, she didn't like jump in and be like, "Heather, stop it." But all the things Bronwyn keeps saying she wishes Lisa had said, like, "Guys, you don't know Bronwyn. I know Bronwyn. That's not how she meant it," whatever. I'm like, well, she kind of did that. She's like, "You guys just don't know. Like, we talk different. Like, you got..." So, but we'll get to that. We'll put a pin in that. We'll circle back. So Lisa, Meredith, Angie, and Heather, they go gambling. Lisa breaking down like what's cool and what's not cool for Mormons. The big thing apparently is no porn. And then she tells this kind of creepy ass story about sitting next to some Mormon kid on a flight who sat there with his hoodie up looking at porn for 4 hours. Ew. That was next to you? God. Ew. Gross. Not cute at all. The Bobblehead Museum, it's not as chic as Bronwyn had expected. And, I don't blame her, but then also I'm like, this is Milwaukee. We're not in New York. This isn't like some sort of trinkets museum or anything like that. This is, it's a bobblehead museum. And they do like a scavenger hunt type of thing. And Bronwyn gives me a little bit of an ick in her confessional here. This is just very tiny. But she goes, typically a scavenger hunt for me would be at a store, finding something exclusive I don't already have, and then lying later that I don't remember where I got it so no one else can copy me. Like, I don't know why. Like, then the story too of how she met Lisa and how Lisa was like, oh my God, I love that, what you're holding. And she was like, okay, ew, like you're wearing sweats. So I'm like, all right. I don't know. I don't know. But I also do enjoy her. I'm fascinated by her and I do want to see more of her. So it's not like I don't like her. I just can't put my finger on her totally. Maybe that's what it is. But I was like, who cares? When people get so weirded out about people copying them, I'm like, oh, shut up. Lisa sitting there at the Brittany joins them for gambling. Lisa's sitting there at the gambling table. What were they playing? Blackjack? I don't know. And Jared texts Brittany saying, I don't know how I missed your call or something like that. I don't know how I missed your call, whatever. And Lisa goes, can I text him? And texts like, oh my God, I'm having the best time with my friends. Don't know when I'll be home later. Talk soon. Bye. Like, that's how to do it. She's like, we're done with him. He needs to make a major, major change. And Brittany goes, well, he did. He asked me to be his girlfriend. Well, lady. Okay, Meredith and Heather, they go and they talk off to the side. Meredith kind of can't wait to say this to Heather. She's like, they're saying Whitney is using designs off Alibaba and selling them at 10, 20 times the price and using the same stock photos. Then they flash back to Lisa and Meredith talking in the hotel room before they all left. And Lisa is like, I can't believe Whitney would say all these things about me. And it's so weird because someone just did it to her. Did you see that? And then Meredith gets to say, oh, the thing about how she's using Alibaba stuff or whatever. Like, it's funny how they try not to be the one to say it on camera. So, like, even Lisa bringing it up, she alludes to it, then she pitches it over to Meredith. Like, did you see that? Do you want to elaborate? Because if I do, I'll get it. So then now Meredith's talking. See, I said, again. God damn it. But now Meredith's now telling Heather because she wants Heather to go tell Whitney because she doesn't want to go tell Whitney. But what I find funny is that Heather actually plays this correctly and says, well, are you going to say something to Whitney and offer her support? And Meredith, I don't think that's my place. She clearly doesn't have respect for me, or she would have consulted me. I've been in this business for 15 years. I have won multiple design awards. Heather responds perfectly. She goes, I think if it's happening, you should bring it up, not as a way to condemn her or expose her, but to say, hey, listen, this is hard to navigate. I happen to have years of experience. You happen to be in a crisis. And if we're friends, I should be able to offer my help or at least support. Now, there's nothing Meredith could say to this. Because that's like Meredith is telling Heather this, trying to pretend like what she's concerned. I don't know what exactly her angle is, but Heather's busting her perfectly. Like, tell her and offer love. Don't be like, well, this is what's happening. If you're saying she should have asked you for advice, then now is your opportunity to give her your help. Here you go. But Meredith, she looks and she goes, you could see her head spinning. Like, how do I spin this to make it sound like I'm actually the bigger person? But really, Meredith is the messy one. I'm sorry, she is. I'll think about that, Heather. I don't know, because she has a weird issue with me. It's been going on for several years. I don't think she wants my advice. Okay, probably not. But if you wanted to offer it, whatever. But then Meredith's confessional. Listen, this confessional look is confusing me. Okay, she has, in this confessional look, Meredith is wearing a ribbed shirt under a matching ribbed cardigan with a zipper, like a leather zipper pull. It was like it was giving like soccer mom. It was giving like I feel like if I went, because when my boyfriend in high school played soccer and his mom was very conservative, and that's like almost exactly what she wore, like a cardigan on top of a cardigan. And I'm like, but this isn't, I don't know fashion ever, but this didn't even feel like fashion. This felt It's a really wear outfit for Meredith. But in this confessional with the fucking weird outfit, she says, I'm not spreading rumors. It's out there on social media. People are discussing it. And I can't tell her myself. She always assumes the worst from me. So I figure if I bring it to Heather, she can bring it to Whitney. Yeah, that's your MO all the time. You always bring things up and then let other people take it and run, and then they get blamed and you get to be off scot-free. As much as I appreciate Meredith and find her to be very funny, and she's funny this is what she does. She is a sneaky, sneaky one. Meredith's one last line is, bottom line, I would have never let her get into this mess. What the fuck does that mean? If what? She was like consulting you on how to run her business? If she was, if she had come to me for advice, I would have never let this happen. What? Was that an Okay. Well, now I hope Whitney goes to you for advice and let's see what happens. Like, I don't understand what that meant. All right. On the car ride back from the Bobblehead Museum, Bronwyn talks about how her husband has gout. She goes, I have sex with someone who's old enough to have gout. It's horrifying. What's gout? I'm going to look up gout. What is gout? Gout is a common and complex form of arthritis that can affect everyone. Oh, God. It's characterized by sudden, severe attacks of swelling. Oh, no. Redness and tenderness in one or more joints, most often in the big toe. An attack of gout can occur suddenly, often waking you up in the middle of the night with the sensation that your big toe is on fire. Wait, do I have gout? The affected joint is hot, swollen, and so tender that even the weight of the bedsheet on it may seem intolerable. No, I do not. Gout symptoms may come and go, but here are ways to manage and prevent. All right, I'm going to be looking into this because I already have arthritic-y hands and my body and joints. Like my joints will just randomly be like painful. I've talked about this, I know. I won't shut up about it. But okay, now I got to worry about gout. Angie's Greek look. Honestly, I love it. I think it's funny. I love that she got the glasses made. Her husband, where did you get those? I had them made. So they go to the Bucks game. Woo, woo. They get to watch the warm-up courtside. Bronwyn, huge fan of the Bucks, apparently. Angie, not even aware they're playing. They're doing the practice. She's just standing like in the middle of the court, like, make sure you get my photo. And they're like, they're trying to warm up Angie. She's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, that part. Guys, I need to talk about something. Mary uses a tampon to keep her from peeing. A supersize tampon. That cannot be good for your urinary tract, right? That can't be good for that. Like sticking that in there, but who was it on the show? Was it Heather? Heather, when it was on Watch What Happens Live, and said that she hasn't personally tried it, but other people on the cast have, and they said it works. I'm like, doesn't that hurt? Just putting that out. Oh, God, even just the thought of it. Even just the thought of it. No, ow. No, I can't. A supersize? That can't be good. But you know what? Why do I feel like Mary knows like secret medical things? You know how she's always talking about how she doesn't want to eat the steak because it'll sit in her colon, or what is it she doesn't like to use or consume because it hardens your ovaries? She has all sorts of like funny medical things, and one should not probably take advice from her. However, yet I feel as if maybe we could. Maybe I don't know what she's tuned into, but I feel like she knows stuff, even though I know she doesn't. But ow, a tampon up your urinary tract. Owie, can't even. All right, Brittany FaceTimes Jared right there in the game. They're up in their suite, whatever. And right behind them is Bronwyn and Angie K. And Angie K is telling Bronwyn about the DMs from her brow lady and Jared whilst in the frame of Brittany's FaceTime with Jared. It's pretty iconic. But okay, this DM that Jared sent is fucked up. Here's what he says. It looks like he tried to call her, or maybe she tried to call him, the brow person. But this is what he says. He says, please. And yes, me and Britt are not together. These pictures of Brittany and I on the fan page website are from several weeks ago. She's on dating sites, and so am I. I'm sorry if I've done anything to offend you. I hope you'll forgive me. Ever since Brittany and I broke up, I've been a little hurt and a little saddened, trying to find a new relationship. She has wasted no time in dating as well. I would love a phone call from you if it's possible. What? That's whoa. Okay, so they're chatting. They must not realize that Brittany is no longer on the FaceTime and has now kind of checked into their conversation, because she hears Bronwyn saying, if this were me, I would want you to tell me. And Brittany goes, is this about me? Like, she knows if people are talking, if this was me, that must be someone. Okay. And she's like, okay, tell me. And when Angie tells Brittany, she's shocked. It was 2 weeks ago that these messages came through. So Brittany gets sad and cries. And I was very interested in Meredith following Brittany to the bathroom. She had so much compassion for Brittany, and they don't know each other, right? This is a new friend, but she was like there for her. And I don't know why Meredith giving this pep talk to Brittany in the bathroom was the most foreign thing to me. I don't think I've ever seen Meredith be like girl talky. But she's like, maybe reassess and think about what's important to you. Maybe go on some dates and see what it's like to date somebody else. What? I don't know why it was so weird. Like, when has she done girl talk in the bathroom? Like a pep talk with some dating advice. But I enjoyed it. Heather and this lobster corn dog would be me. I would like to try a lobster corn. I went on DoorDash and typed in lobster corn dog and nothing came up. So, yeah, I would be like, check it out. But Mary dancing with Angie and the Greek flag. Now that was foreign, also very welcome, but like, I do get their friendship. I do get that now Angie knows that Mary's going to say like pretty rude things, but Angie can laugh at herself and finds it funny. But like, Mary is getting a kick out of this, and she's like dancing and totally giving it up for Angie. Like, she really respects Angie and wants her to have this moment with the Greek. I'm like, what medication is this woman on? What has happened? I love it. It's so fun. Okay, but then they're all eating their food, and Lisa sits with Bronwyn. She asks how'd the museum go? And Bronwyn's like, good. She's like, it went okay. How was the museum? Like, tell me more. At the museum, Maylee had talked to Bronwyn because she's like, oh, I hear you're talking about me. You don't like my clothes or whatever. And Bronwyn actually said, no, you should be talking to Lisa and ask Lisa how she feels about your clothes. Now in real time at the game, enter, and is it Maylee? Am I saying it right? And she says to Lisa, so Bronwyn told me to ask you how you feel about my outfit. Lisa, you could tell she's busted, but she owns it. She's like, it was a snarky comment after she said something about like Valentino. And I responded, I'm like, don't worry, it's probably back at Nordstrom. Like, not exactly what you said, but you know what? Okay, fine. And so Maylee, though, she's like, that's not something I would ever do. But Lisa's like, Maylee, it's not that deep. I'm like, okay, well, let's not dismiss her. You talk shit about her and she's calling you out on it, Lisa. You should at least maybe say sorry. Maybe. How about that? But then Bronwyn chimes in. She's like, oh, see, but like when I say things, I can't just be like snarky or whatever. It's not a joke when I say it. And then I'm like I'm right there with you with Lisa, because for Lisa, her memory of that fight at the ropes course was that she literally said, you guys don't get her humor. She's kidding. Like, that she didn't mean it in a mean way or anything like that. Like, that's what Lisa is saying in her mind. But clearly, this was not enough for Bronwyn. Bronwyn is like, she's in her confessional saying, we are at a crossroads in this friendship that we may never recover. It's that fucking serious. And so Bronwyn's like, you should have shut it down. And you didn't. And then she tries to say that Lisa was egging Heather on. Now Meredith has somehow appeared. And she's like, no, she actually has Lisa's back. I was surprised. But Bronwyn goes, look, I think she stayed completely out of it, which is fine. But you wouldn't like it if I stayed out of it. And she keeps kind of repeating herself. Like, you could have said this, you could have said that. And honestly, I'm like, I kind of thought Lisa did say those things. I did. And that's what I did say that. I didn't say it like you, but I did say that. But then Heather walks up and probably regrets this choice because Lisa pulls her right in. Heather attempts to say that she didn't mean to put Bronwyn on blast, but girl, you did. You really did. You came in real hard, and it felt like you did want to put her on blast. So that doesn't track. But then Bronwyn goes, we need to get correct about how we're going to talk to each other. And this like kicks it off. And Heather's all giving the neck roll. Like, we need to come correct. The one who needs to get correct is you. And she is just really like, this is just a bit tedious now, it feels. But not just from Heather, but from Bronwyn. But also from Heather, because it's like she's so hell bent on saying that like it's almost like a conspiracy theory. Even though, yes, I guess technically Bronwyn is kind of acting one way with different people or whatever, but there's not enough evidence yet to be like, no, this is bad. It's like, just put a pin, just observe it. But Heather's taking it already to a level 10. So this goes like back and forth. And Heather is at a level 10. Like, you said this about Whitney and then you said that. It's like, okay. But also, Bronwyn, chill out. But Bronwyn, unfortunately, does kind of get them here. And she's like, what's interesting is you both said to me that Whitney plays up her trauma. And when she wants to downplay it, she does. And like, you're her friends. And that's not worse than what I said. And I feel like Lisa's kind of catching strays in this. Like, Lisa had no idea Heather was going to suddenly be like, you fucking talked all this shit about Whitney and do all this stuff, because that's not how Whitney experienced it. I mean, Lisa experienced it, but then also Lisa was being snarky too, so she would definitely not say anything like that. And so I don't think she thought it was that heavy of a thing, but Bronwyn, it was her first foray into having someone come at her on this show on camera. And I guess I think what it is she's very indulged. Bronwyn does feel like a very overly indulged person. Everything's mine. It's all mine. I have it. It's mine. Like you can't copy me. And so she's acting accordingly. Very housewife though. Very housewife energy. So I'm not mad at it necessarily, but it's getting it's a lot for this. And it just, without fail, whoever a housewife brings in as their friend, they will be in a fight by the end of the season. Why does that always happen? But it does. But okay, now let's take another little break and let's finish up with Orange County. I really think that Tamra traumatized herself with the way she acted at this party, because she's a mess. She's crying in the car. Katie's checking on her. She's like, this guy's a piece of shit. She knows it. Ask him about the FBI. Now there's a lawsuit about the FBI and illegal gambling. It's disgusting. I hate the way she says disgusting. I hate it. But Tamra sources an account on Instagram. And shout out to Giorgio Says. He's one of the kindest people in the community, for sure, at least to other creators. But I did find that funny that he was like her expert, because no offense to all of us content creators, we can deliver information, but like, it's not like he's a lawyer account, like he's giving out legal tips or anything. I just thought it was funny that she's like, there's an account that says, and it's like, if it was Emily D. Baker or the Bravo docket or something, I'd be like, okay, yeah, because they are lawyers. But this is just Giorgio Says. No offense. I literally love him, but I just think it's funny that Tamara's like, and now it's fact. All right. Now, I did find it interesting that Ryan's home address was his partner's business address. So they were very, very close, and there was some sort of entanglement there. That's how Ryan got even named, because his friend said, deposit this money into my friend's account, Ryan's, and we'll gamble with it and whatever. Obviously, all of this is allegedly whatever. Eddie then, he's like, all right, I'm going to go, because Katie comes back and is like, she's not coming back in, so you got to go. And Eddie ends up hugging Ryan. He sure does. Ends up hugging Ryan. And as he's leaving, Jen gives him a hug and says, help me with that. With that. Help me with that. So Katie tells the group and Ryan what Tamara said and, ask him about the FBI. The way Ryan plays so dumb is a little suspicious to me. Yes, Tamara is at fault, 100%. But he's like, oh, is the thing with Matt, maybe that's what it is. What are you talking about, dude? You know what it is. And Emily does her lawyer thing that we love her for. She's like, so were you hosting people, or your friend, was he hosting people in Vegas? He's no, he's a pro professional gambler, and he has a bookie business, and his family is going through a hard time, and I can't say anything about it. That's his situation. And Katie asked the question I was confused about. She's like, are bookies illegal? Apparently in California they are. But Emily then continues, like, so you were going with him to Vegas, and he's like, yes, we go to Vegas all the time. We are fortunate to enjoy those fruits of those friendships. He's very generous with us. I could tell he was squirreling out of that. He was most likely very close with this friend, knew what his friend was up to, and has now had to turn on his friend, which maybe he didn't know how bad it was and what his friend was up to. Maybe that is possible, but his friend fucked him then. His friend had him very much entangled in his businesses. If he had his home address as his business address, that alone is not a good thing. So if Ryan really was clueless, then that's fucked up of his friend. But Ryan has bailed out his friend before. I guess this guy declared bankruptcy in 2012, I want to say. Maybe not that year, but a while ago. And Ryan gave him over $200,000 to help him out. So they're very close. They've been friends for a long time. And he did seem a little shifty about it. Okay, Shannon is turning 60. That bitch looks good for sure. All that work, killing it. The hair looks great, yes. But Heather doing the most in this furniture store actually felt like an act of aggression. Because, it's her 60th. It's up to Shannon, to decide how big she wants it. And I also personally think it's funny when women lie about their ages. I plan on lying ridiculously about my age when I'm older. I'm planning on saying I'm 21 when I'm 90. I just think it's funny. It's fuck it, whatever. And so Shannon doesn't want to be announcing that she's 60. And then there's Heather it's a new decade. I'm listen. All right, give her a minute. You don't need to be screaming about it. They chat about the happenings and whatever. There isn't much of an update in this conversation, except Shannon says in her confessional regarding how People magazine had the story about the lawsuit right away, that John had also prepared a statement that he gave to People after he broke up with Shannon. So he has a direct line. I don't know if that was also written by Dave Quinn, but so that's also fucking weird. This man is not private. Okay, there's a big running joke on Watch What Happens Live last night where it's this guy who's private doing interviews, coming to Watch What Happens Live, making sure he gets his point across, doing confessional. It's he's not private. Okay. Tamra, apparently when Shannon had sent out the hey guys, I'm going to do this for my 60th, it was right after Katie's house. And Tamra was like, I can't make it. But it's because she was just right. But I think Tamra, we don't see much of her this episode, do we? No, we do not. She talked on Watch What Happens Live when she was on recently, when the one that got her in trouble. Because then Ryan came after her because she was like, oh, the money you stole. And so he's like, bitch, that's defamation. So she had to retract and apologize and issue an actual formal apology. And now she's no longer being sued. But now she knows that he will fucking sue her if she keeps going. It's oh, she's been warned. She said on that Watch What Happens Live that after that night at Katie's, she stopped drinking. She's like, I drink a little bit, but I definitely checked it. So I feel like she was harrowed by her own behavior because she was in hiding after that. And then when she gets to Shannon's party, she has her tail between her legs. So, but we'll get there. Okay. Gina and Emily hang out. Emily goes over to Gina's house, I believe. And Gina's pissed at Heather because Heather is actually upset with Gina for leaving with Emily. And I forgot that maybe they didn't show it at the time, but they show in a flashback maybe Heather's saying Gina's on the wrong side of history as she walks out with Emily. Heather actually asks Katie, because it's Katie, Shannon, and Heather at this furniture store, which is interesting. She's like, what side are you on? And I was pretty impressed that Katie's able to answer. She's like, oh, look, I could see where Emily was coming from, but I think the night got away from her, Alexis. Alexis chimed in and became Miss Crazy Pants over there. But to Heather saying, Emily got aggressive with me. And then apparently Heather told Tamara that Emily attacked her. So but I'm going to say this. As somebody who had a very bad time explaining and expressing myself when I was heated or passionate or emotional about something, mainly hurt by something, I know what it's like to think you're saying something from a place of hurt, but it sounds like an attack on the person you're saying it to. Because that happened a lot to me. If I was hurt by something, I would sound mad at the person and then they would react accordingly. And I interpreted Emily's approach with Heather as her saying Heather did something wrong and Heather needed to apologize because Heather made her feel however she made her feel. Like I experienced it like that. Now that I know what Emily's intentions were, I'm like, okay, I get that's what was happening. That's not how it was initially received. And once someone receives you as saying they did something bad and that you're mad at them, it puts them in a different space. And it sucks because me at least, I would want my feelings heard. I would want them to be like, oh my God, I hear you. I'm so sorry. But they're busy defending themselves against my energy because I'm like, yeah, screaming at them. And so I don't think Emily is aware. And I've said this before, I'll say it until I die. A tiny bit of therapy would really help her out. Just because she's pretty fucking cool, Emily. She's pretty fucking cool. And she just needs to know, oh, these are these buttons that I have. And these are the tools I could use. And this is what it stems from. And just like, it's like a little tune-up. Having been to so much damn therapy, it's like just a little to deal with these things. Because she could have handled this in a way that Heather could have received it, even in the moment. I believe the conversation that they end up having later, I believe Heather when she says, you can come to me and tell me in the moment. Because I really think that if Emily had said, are you putting me in this because I'm the big girl? She would have known. You want to know why you can't say that? Because you know that's not why. Deep down, you know that's not why. And there's nothing that person can say. But I think Heather would have been like, not at all. Let's get you something else to wear. I really do. I think that Heather is that empathetic, even though I know a lot of people disagree. And I see a lot of the Heather hate comments. And I know that people don't like Heather and think she's inauthentic and shitty and all those things. But I personally experience her as overly sensitive and able to take in someone's thoughts. And I think she can be so maternal. So I could see her being like, oh my God, not at all. Let's fix this. What do you need? What do you want? But now that the mistake's been made on her part, she's unaware. This woman is thin and has never been the bigger girl, even if she says she's dealt with weight issues and body image issues and stuff, not the same way that Emily has, and not on this show where you're on a show and you're getting, because like, fuck all those people who comment mean things on Emily's posts. Like, fuck you people. You're disgusting. You're disgusting. So Katie does then relay to Heather that, yes, I did hear from Emily about it. And she just said she wanted to be heard. And I can tell Heather does actually take that in. Like, okay. But she's also upset. Like, why is she not saying this to me, but she's saying this to everyone else? But then they flash back to Emily at Katie's house saying, I wanted her to look at me like a size 6 and not a size 12. Now, I struggle with this one because it's putting this on Heather. You want Heather to look at you, but she just submitted your size, your measurements, as Emily would say. And Emily seems tall and bigger in just like overall build than I am. And I'm not a size 6. Size 6 is really small. I mean, to me, I remember growing up in high school when I thought I was so fat, I was a 0 in some clothes. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Because, we had body image issues. But now that I've spent over a decade being heavier, I look at size 6 as like a goal for sure. But it's really hard to go down in size. I've lost a lot of weight and I'm maybe down one size. And I keep thinking like, oh, and just the other day, I thought I can totally go down another size. I think I'm there because the last time I got the other size, they were a little big. Nope, not yet, not there. And so submitting measurements and that's the size. And then it's also when Emily says stuff like that, it also is then putting it back on Heather that Heather did do something, that Heather looked at her like the big girl. Heather did. So Heather did do something in your mind, but it's all projection. And that's what I'm saying. A little tune up, a little therapy tune up. I love it. But okay, wait, back to Heather is mad at Gina because she left with Emily. And I think that now you're taking this too far. Now you're just beating up on Gina. Come on. She's friends with Emily. Emily was yelling at Alexis and Alexis was she needed to go. She was just being her friend and getting her out of there. How are you mad at her? Come on. How are you mad at her for that? So now you're taking it a little too far. But Heather she interpreted Emily's approach as you did something. You did something and you need to apologize. And so she responded as such. I don't think in that moment there at Jen and Ryan's house, I don't think that they could have had a conversation the way Emily even wanted to, because maybe Emily's intentions were to just talk friend to friends that she could hear her. Even if that was the intention, that wasn't the tone, at least even the way I experienced it. And I wasn't even there and I wasn't the one she was coming at, like telling things to, because I know what it's like to be like, no, I'm like saying it. I'm saying I'm sad. It's like, oh, but it sounds like you're saying you hate me. So we're going to keep going. Katie goes to Korean barbecue with her family. And honestly, I fucking need Korean barbecue now so bad. I haven't had it in forever. And now it's all I need. So I'm on a mission to get some people together to go to get Korean barbecue because it looked so good. I'm going to say something about Katie. She might have irritated me with the way she came in with like the Heather stuff and like the Gina and like it just was kind of all very strange to me. But now that she's just sort of in the show, I think she fits in really well with this cast actually. And because I like Jen and Katie's dynamic, I think that's good. I do think I want Katie to get another season. So when she talks about how they're going to go to Korea because Katie actually found her birth mom, I was like, okay, I'm here for this journey. I hope we get to see that. I've come around on her. I didn't really know what her purpose was going to be because she hasn't really done much besides that thing with Heather and the Gina and whatever, but she's got a good energy with the crew. And I think that she's sort of like a missing puzzle piece. Because if we're going to keep Jen, which I believe we are, and I think we should. I think she's maybe not the most interesting, but she also fits in nice with the group, But then it's like, what is happening? Then is it just Tamra being a mess? Because someone's got to be causing some sort of rift. Otherwise, it's not a good show. So you can't have nothing but careful people. But I like Katie and I like Jen. I think that I'm into it. All right, Shannon's birthday thing. The tea. I'm like, are we not going to remember that we did this for Vicky? It's like they pretending like that didn't happen. They had a whole like tea party thing for Vicky's birthday. But Heather comes in and she asks to talk to Emily right away. And Emily's like, no, we're good. But obviously she's not going to let it sit there at all. So then eventually they do go talk off to the side. And I know I already kind of touched on this a little bit, but I do believe that Heather is listening genuinely. I do. Like when Emily's like, okay, then you hand me the oversized jacket. What do you think I think? That I have you because you're the big person or whatever she says. She seems to get it. Or when you have me bring jeans and no one else bring jeans. Now I did think that this was possibly what it was. And I believe I said it, but I'm not sure if I ended up keeping it I don't know. But I did think that because this was such a limited designer collection, fashion collection thing, I thought maybe they don't have jeans in the collection and maybe they wanted to show the clothes with jeans. And then Heather on it's like an after show, but they're doing it on YouTube. It's called Bravo HQ. Have you guys seen that? I don't, it's not an after show. It's kind of hard to find, but if you go on YouTube and type in Bravo HQ OC or something, you can see it. But Heather does say, we didn't have jeans in the collection and I wanted it styled with jeans. And so actually someone else in the show that wasn't in the cast, but someone else who was just walking in the show also had to bring jeans. So it was literally because they wanted to show it with that. So I do think if Emily had been able to say in the moment, like, oh my God, I'm really triggered. This makes me feel like the big fat girl again. I think Heather would have adjusted and cared. I do. Now, maybe that's me being stupid. That's fine. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments because it's been a fun ride covering OC lately. Tamra walks into this thing. I'm telling you, she is scared at this point because she walks in and immediately apologizes to Jen. And when Jen isn't like, it's okay, and just kind of gives her a, we'll talk later. She's like, no, totally. We'll talk later. We'll talk. There's more to say. I just wanted this to not be awkward. I wanted this to be fun and, we can make eye contact. I'm like, oh, she freaked herself out. She freaked herself out. Shannon looks great. She looks great in her all black tee outfit with the little hat. And then bam, sequined British flag dress. Well done. The British accent Gina does, cut it. It's okay to just tell the producers and the confessionals no sometimes. It's okay to be like, no, I don't do a British accent. But she keeps trying it, and she already has a very specific accent herself. It's like when the Salt Lake City cast does each other's voices. Like they already have very distinct voices. Like when Lisa did her Meredith Marks impression, it was Lisa Barlow doing Meredith Marks. So it was just, so Gina can't do an accent. She already has her little accent thing. Okay, Heather gets Shannon Ferragamo shoes for her birthday. Okay. By the way, also forgot to mention the amazing photo that Emily got of Shannon when Shannon came to her boudoir shoot. And she did look like a madam. It looked literally like the picture you would hang when you first walk in to her brothel. Like, this is Shannon. She's the madam. It totally did. But Shannon, when someone says something like, and she loves Ferragamo, Shannon goes, and by the way, can I tell you, I showed Gina all the receipts of every single thing. Gina can tell you. And they're like, oh God, oh, let it go. Apparently, Alexis over at Jen and Ryan's that other night said something like, I'll write Shannon the check for the $400 shoes right now. Okay, I'll write that to her. And I'm like, well, but she wants to just write it's getting really annoying that people keep being like, well, if Shannon had paid him back, we wouldn't have been here. I'm like, she's attempting to do that. And he literally just wants to make sure he can talk shit about her. So okay, anyway, moving on. Enter the flower arrangement. Tamara's reaction when Shannon says, it's from Alexis Bellino. And she just goes, her mouth just opened. Bah. What? Oh, this flower arrangement kind of reminded me of when Adrienne Maloof sent that huge arrangement to Lisa Vanderpump for they did like a reopening party or something one year. And the Adrienne Maloof sent this entire, it had to be rolled in, this whole centerpiece. That's what these flower arrangement reminded me of. Shannon's like, well, John's coaching her to do this. And they flash back to that dinner from earlier in the season where Shannon is saying to Alexis, it's horrendous that you're being coached by John. And Alexis says, you want to keep lying about him? You're going to go down. But she's saying he's coaching you. I know that you're not smart enough to realize that's what's happening, but that's what's happening, Alexis. He's feeding you information and you're repeating it. You don't realize, but that's what he's doing. You're not checking his facts. You're just repeating it like it's all real and truthful, but you're being coached. Hate to tell you, you're being coached. Then Shannon tells them about the text she pre-wrote to Alexis. I mean, again, no fucking notes. No notes. I want to send a text like this to somebody, I tell you, because it just looks like it would heal my soul. Hello, Alexis. It's Shannon Beador. It's the periods. Hello, Alexis, period. It's Shannon Beador, period. Punctuation means a lot. I am hosting a trip to Europe with my friends and just wanted to make it clear that you are not invited. That should be quite understandable given the circumstances. Thank you for the flowers, but I am not interested in any olive branch. I love it. I love it so much. It's not mean. I mean, it is. It's mean. It is, I guess, a little bit mean. And Alexis trying to be like, well, I wouldn't have even gone or something. I'm like, yes, you would have. It's a cast trip. You're trying so fucking hard to be with this cast, with Shannon, and she outsmarted you. She said, no, I'm planning a fucking trip and you're not invited. This also really does prove that they have autonomy and they can invite and not invite who they want to. I'm going to kind of blame production here too. I get that they wanted to do this big shock casting move with Alexis, but they did still need to ensure that Shannon would be willing to film and willing to give them the season that they expected to get. It's like, in theory, because when it was announced, I was like, fuck yeah, that's going to be so messy. But then I didn't really think it through. And Shannon just has to be like, I'm not fucking talking to her, period. Just going to make it awkward for all of you because she wants to get in this group and get her camera time and be on this show. But I don't want to deal with her. And I'm a major main cast member. So I kind of have to blame this on production a little bit. It could have been, rather than trying to bring her back, it could have just been like, have her come do a couple scenes here and there, but not in this capacity. And so they kind of ended up screwing themselves a little bit. Because I know they wanted to get a rise out of Shannon, but like, it has to be executable. That's not a word. It's not. But I made it one right now. And I think I'm explaining myself well. This is where I fell in love with Katie and Jen. When they go to Alexis's to tell her this whole scene, they were funny in this scene. And so they're like, you need to check your texts. And she reads the text. She's instantly crying when she reads the text. But also, why the hell is John just right upstairs? That is creepy. Because this is Alexis's house, right? We've been here before, haven't we? And why is he just upstairs? Oh, it's so weird. And why does he have her phone? Like, she's like, you have my phone, right? And I'm like, why don't I always have my phone on me. Also, you have people coming over. Maybe they want to check in, like, hey, I'm running late. How do I get to your house? I don't know. But so she goes up, she gets it from John, and they're like, oh, John's here? What the fuck? And Alexis, she's like, what is she so hung up on? And Jen's like, come on. It's very hard. If you guys were just moving on, Alexis says, sorry, her actions caused all of this. If she didn't borrow the money and she had paid him back, we wouldn't be in this situation. Cut to John in the confessional with Alexis. And I can't tell if the plan was he wasn't planning on being in the shot because he's not even lit properly. It looks like they just like scooted Alexis over and then he just sat there and he's like in shadow and her face is all kinds of crazy. But he says, this is what oh my God. He goes, I didn't want to take legal action, but my hands were tied as I was days away from crossing the statute of limitations on being able to do anything legally. Wait, the statute of limitations? What the fuck is the statute of limitations on? Like, that's like a year. What? She 100% knows these are loans. I have proof of that. And Alexis chimes in, yeah, we have proof. We have proof. We. So you are right here next to John having these talks and you're like, how come we can't be cool, Shannon? Come on. He says, Shannon sent me an email saying she knows it's a loan. So the comments about these being gifts are patently false. Shannon has an interesting relationship with the truth. Cool. He looks creepy. He looks like a creepy villain in this thing. I don't like how much. Listen, Tamra, I can see why she's like, oh, I like John. John's always been nice because she's being messy. But Heather, too. Heather keeps trying to make John happen. I'm like, stop. Okay? Because Heather was also super supportive of Brooks for as long as she could be. Longer than she should have been. But she was really supportive of Brooks. Even when there's this moment in one of the reunions This is the season where my friend, my sister, my friend, my soulmate, or whatever that line is, that fight where the evil eye gave her the evil eye, that one. At the reunion, Heather says to Vicky, like, I've always been supportive of Brooks. Even when I came out to, check on you guys to be like, okay, we're going to cut the cake or whatever. And Brooks was not very nice to me. And I think that was when he was being a crazy. Yeah. So like Heather will be supportive of somewhat problematic partners because I think she just really values maybe relationships and love and all that kind of stuff and wants to be supportive. But I don't like how she keeps trying to be like, I wish you had brought John to the event, like last episode when it was at the GLAAD event or something. I wish you'd brought John. I'm like, can we stop? No. Okay. Jen asks Alexis how the story got leaked to people. I mean, did you and John give it to them? Alexis goes, here's what happened. Long pause. John said 70. She said, sure, but you have to put a muzzle on. We're not putting a muzzle on John. If I have to hear the word muzzle, and as many of you have already said, the disparagement clause would be for both him and Shannon. So Shannon would not be able to say more things. And if Shannon had settled this suit with the non-disparagement clause attached, I guarantee she would have asked production, please take out anything I said about John. Otherwise, I'll get fucked. So his whole concept of the things that she's said already on the show, I want to be able to, when they play back, I want to be able to respond. Dude, no. If this is if you're really just after this money, which you shouldn't need, with the way he flosses and stuff, like, do you need this money that bad? But fine, if you're under the impression it was a loan and she's not paying you back, fine. She's now willing to pay you back. The only thing is you have to not talk about it anymore. But John's like, well, that's not going to work because I was planning on destroying Shannon. Like she destroyed me. Like Shannon was guilty of being with you and trying to defend you and hide the real you. And when the real you would come out and the truth would come out you'd freak out and be like, oh, Shannon's just saying shit. I'm a private person. Shannon's the one saying stuff and ruining my life and all this crap. But it's like, no, Shannon was trying to hide things on your behalf. And other people would bring out stuff she had said off camera about John. And you could see her face like freaking out, like, fuck, he's not supposed to know I say these things because he is so controlling of what, he's such dark energy. I really do. Oh my God. Okay. Then, ow, I just hit my hand so hard on the table. Fuck. Ow. Jen's like, okay, so you're talking about the non-disparagement. Alexis goes, that, and yeah, that. Jen's like, and other things or just that? Just that. That in the confessional, why is Jen so weird in her answer in the confessional when the producer is like, do you think Alexis leaked that story to people? She goes, oh, no, I don't. And then he's like, but then why do you think she's so upset? She goes, stop it. Go to the next one. Thank you, Katie, for giving me something. Katie goes, I do know she has a good relationship with people at People. So maybe she's the one who gave it to them. Thank you, Katie. Tell your friend Jen to get a little bit messier. All right. I don't know what the fuck that was about, Jen. But Alexis then goes, you know what? And then really, really goes down. I just won't be around this group. And then she starts whispering, I'm done. This is unbelievable. I'm done. Then she gets up, opens the door, and literally motions like, get out, both hands, like a flight director directing it. Get out, move it, leave. Wow. Jen in her confessional, she goes, I've never been kicked out of it. Well, I guess I did get evicted. Well done. They're pissed. Katie and Jen, actually. Jen's like, are she mad at us? She just slammed the fucking door? Bitch. Like, we didn't want to come here and do this. Fuck her. She's up there sobbing with John. Okay, next week is the London trip. Tamara and Heather are like, we have to talk about Jeff Lewis or something. And Shannon gets really upset that she brings that up. But what happened? Does anyone remember something that happened on Jeff Lewis around this time? Shannon was on, and was this the one where she went on Jeff Lewis? The one that she talks about the lawsuit? Is that the one? I'm going to have to go back and revisit that because I'm assuming that's what they're referring to. That's got to be that episode. So I may have to go back and rewatch that to see what was said and what the lie was, according to Tamra. All right, well, this has been fun. I hope you guys are doing good. I'm gonna go now. Gonna get this edited, get this out to you. Love you so much. Mean it. See you soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. This show is produced, hosted, and edited by me, Emily, and brought to you in partnership with Cloud 10 Media. If you are looking for bonus content, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. To show some support, you can hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Another free way to support the pod, please rate and/or review on whatever platform you listen. It's free, and it helps the algorithm or something. You could also head to buymeacoffee.com/shespeaks and buy me a coffee or two. Make sure you're following me on all social medias. I am She's Speaking with Emily Hanks across all platforms: Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Thank you guys. See you soon.